What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by George Wall Ford. George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more. Again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Kulot.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back to Interview Thursday. Today's guest is Jarred Ramnath, PGA professional at TPC Jasna Polana. We've been talking Jasna all week. Mike's verse was there on Monday. Our episode was almost exclusively Jasna Polana on Tuesday. My Ryan's verse yesterday. Wednesday was Jasna Polana. Today, we have Jarred come on. We interview him in the dog room, which has just an unbelievable view of the property. We get into explaining why it's the dog room. And it was funny, even after we cut the camera, Jarred was like, I've been here 6 years. Never once have I, or 5 years, never once have I been in this room. So it's really, we got very special treatment there. It was really wonderful from the team. Michael, Heather, and Jarred, they were awesome in communicating with us and setting all this up. So it was really awesome to have it and see what it's like basically living at Jasna Polana. Jarred spends all of his time there, which is amazing because it's again, we said it on Tuesday, it's essentially a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that is important for us to realize is when we get people like Jarred on that, to your point, lives there, it's important to see what he goes through on a day-to-day basis about a place that's really that special and the type of people that he sees on a daily basis and all his interactions with the membership. So it's exciting to sit down and talk to someone who basically, to your point, lives there.
Yeah. So before we send you to our interview with Jarred, which we're going to do in just a second, I do want to remind you, we teased it Tuesday. Tomorrow, Friday, noon, we have a very new, very exciting video dropping for you. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, enjoy your interview with Jarred.
All right, so today's guest, I mean, we are in for a treat here at where we're at. We're in the dog room at TPC Jasna Polana with today's guest, PGA professional Jarred Ramnath. Jarred, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thank you for coming out to the property. You got a great day for golf afterwards, too.
Yeah, we do.
This is
Yes.
If the golf course is anything like what we've just experienced, stop it.
It's your first time out here. You can see behind, a little bit of a preview. This is 18 behind me. What yardage do you all usually play from?
we normally 65 to 69.
So you'll be playing the player tees. The 18th hole from the player tees is about 520, but it's a par 5. You could have a wedge left in. That's how much it slopes downhill. It's a really cool course. Yeah.
Okay.
Exciting. I mean, and this whole thing has been crazy because I think the allure and the aura of this spot specifically being the only TPC course here in New Jersey, it's been something that we've, tried to connect with and figure a way out. But before we even get into the course, tell us a little bit about you, how you got into the game, how you got to the position you're in, and a little bit of your background.
So I grew up in Florida. If you've been to Florida, you can throw a rock and practically hit a golf course. So within the area I lived in, there were 4 golf clubs within 5 miles of where my parents and I lived. There wasn't a lot of actual golf going on in the area amongst junior golfers. So one of the local golf professionals, Alex Romanoff, at the Muni that was close to our house, had a program every Saturday. I'll teach juniors for an hour for free. They just need to have golf clubs because obviously golf courses don't have a ton of junior sets. So for my 11th birthday, my dad got me a small junior set of golf clubs, went out, hit golf balls, and that's how I got really hooked on it because it was close enough to home. It was something I could do without my parents because if you were respectful of the golf course, he would let you walk when you were done with that 1 hour lesson. And, that's really how it started, and I've kept up with it ever since. So growing up in Florida, you can imagine there are a ton of really good junior golfers. I was decent, but you have that self-realization at some point you're not going to be the next Tiger Woods or the next Jack Nicklaus or whatever it is at the time. My favorite was Vijay Singh.
Okay.
So, but you have that realization you can't be as good as they are. My parents have a small business, so I wanted to go more of the business route with it. And I started looking at the PGA golf management schools. Ended up going to Methodist University, small Division III school in North Carolina. And it was a really cool atmosphere because it was very golf eccentric. We had our own golf club on the property. We were also members at another golf club about 2 miles down the street as well. So there was a lot of golf going on there, and then we were about 20 minutes away from the Pinehurst area, or 20 miles away, sorry, so about 45 minutes away. So I played a lot of golf there, the Pinehurst area.
Depending on how fast you drive.
Depending on how fast you drive, whether it's Old Sanford Road or the back road. So it didn't really matter there. But played a lot of golf there, and coincidentally enough, my high school golf coach, Bob Pauley, his best friend was the superintendent at 1 through 6.
Oh, wow.
So I was fortunate enough because of him to play a few golf courses in the Pinehurst area on the resort, for nothing.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I just had to carry my own clubs, which I no problem doing that. But I mean, did 3 of my internships in the Chicago area. When I got out of college, my first job was in New Hampshire, which if you grew up in Florida and in New Hampshire, that's the tundra up there, the frozen tundra. So, and it was kind of hard too, just living up there because everything's so far away. Like I lived right on Lake Winnipesaukee. I had to
Spell that.
Winnipesaukee.
Wow.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. That's
I think.
impressive.
So
You could have just,
I think I might be off by 1 letter there, but it was hard. Like here, if I need to go I live right in Princeton, right? So if I need to go get groceries, there's a ShopRite, a Wegmans, a McCaffrey's, all within 3 miles of here.
Yeah.
I need to go 23 miles away to get groceries.
Yeah.
There were grocery stores in town, but it was a resort-style town, so a box of cereal is $6. You can't afford that.
No.
But it was a great experience, though. After that, I worked at the Country Club of Woodlock Springs in the Poconos in Hawley, Pennsylvania, and the director of golf there, John Pillar. He was the section president of the PGA section at that time, the Philadelphia section, so I learned a lot from him. Was there for a little bit. Was in French Lick, Indiana then for 2 years. which was really sick. So the Donald Ross course, the Pete Dye course.
Yeah, were you at
I was at the Donald Ross course, but I was tournament director for both courses. Okay. So I did all, and it's a resort style course, so no members whatsoever. It's just strictly resort play. Okay. So, but we had a lot of outings, as you can imagine, and because it's a resort style course with no private membership, you're not relegated to only hosting a Monday outing. You could have a Sunday outing. You can have a Tuesday outing. Yeah. So between there and the Pete Dye course, I did a lot of the tournament operations for that, which was really cool to see. Very busy golf course.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've heard of the Pete Dye course at all there. So from the back tees, it's 8,200 yards, 8,300 yards.
Yeah.
Played it 10 times in my 2 years there from the back tees, and I shot 79 once.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
There's I think it's the 15th hole over there. It's a 313-yard par 3. And I'm not joking when I say that. It scared the absolute hell out of me when I saw it. I'm like, I put it on
for the 5. I'm not feeling terrible.
No, laying up with the driver is
well,
not
that's
something you usually do.
My first time playing it from the back tees there, I put it on the front edge of the green. And I 3-putted, okay, whatever, I make par. Nope, it's a par 3. Yeah. So, you made bogey.
Yeah. Now, don't they host, is that the place that hosts the Big Ten tournament? Or
they did.
There,
they have.
Okay.
They had the senior PGA championship one of the years I was there in 2015, and they're hosting the Korn Ferries United Leasing Championship as well. Yeah. Yep. So really cool spot, and it's kind of like Princeton, how it's in between New York City and Philly. Okay. I mean, I know Midwest is different, but French Lick, Indiana is in between Louisville, Kentucky, and Indianapolis, Indiana. So 2 really big major metro areas there too, which was cool.
So I actually have family in Chicago, and I want to come back to your Chicago connections in a minute, but I've looked at playing French Lick because I drive out to Chicago to see, my dad, brother, cousins, or aunt and uncles are all out there. But it's a little too far south for me to get to.
It's a little bit of a hike.
It's a little bit out of the way. Yeah. A little too far out of the way when you're already on a 13-hour drive. So.
Yeah, that's a good area. I mean, it's practically farmlands and cornfields, but it's
absolutely.
a good. The more docile it is, the more fun it is for me sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
But after that, I was in Texas for 3 years. Went to Florida, and COVID hit. That's how I ended up here. Gotcha. So I interviewed with the at the time director of golf, Brian Parcell, and we hit it off. So I've been up here this is my 4th season now.
Nice. Yeah.
So
that's everywhere.
That is.
We've
bouncing around. Yeah.
You went to the United States.
But you're hitting all the climates.
Yeah. And once you interview for this place, as that's ongoing at that time, did you know about this course? Like, what did you know, or what was the lure for you to say, hey, listen, I'm down in Florida. This course has this opening. Let me throw my hat in the ring. What made you put in for a job like this?
So it had a lot to do with the centralized location between Philly and New York. My parents and brother are still in the Palm Bay, Melbourne area of Florida, but I've got a lot of friends from college who are in the Philadelphia area. My parents are both one of 6 on each side. So I've got a lot of family in the New York City area, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Yeah. So, I didn't want to be in a city. I like visiting, don't like living there.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's fair.
I was looking at here, really, I wasn't even looking at here, I was looking at Yardley Country Club at the time, because my uncle lived in Yardley at the time, and it was a place to stay. But I said, let me throw my hat in the ring for TPC Jasna Polana because it's a TPC network course. They hosted a few events senior events back in the day, but it's a championship style golf course, and I want to be proud about the golf course I work at. So that was really the main allure, if you would, for me to try to put my resume in here.
Yeah. Now, how does applying to a TPC networked course compare to applying to a regular country club? Is it different at all? Maybe it's not.
It kind of is, but it isn't. So the interview process is just a little bit different. So like when you apply to a private country club, you meet with human resources first, or you talk with them first, then the director of golf or head pro, then the board. It's kind of segmented that way, but I talked to Brian Parcell first. Then the general manager at the time was Chad Fleming. Then I talked to Bill Whaley, who was the director of the TPC network at the time. Okay. So it was segmented that way, but very different. Gotcha. So And it's kind of cool with the TPC network that you're a first-time interviewer, right?
Yeah.
If you're a potential candidate for them, you're talking to like the head of the TPC network.
Who's running all the TPC.
Who's running all,
that's kind of that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that guy's got a lot going on his plate.
And if you make it to that process, you know they're true, or to that step, that third person, the Bill Whaley, you know that they're truly interested in you. So I'm going to show interest right back. I'm obviously interested, but I'm going to show more interest right back.
Yeah,
so.
they're not, he's not seeing 4 or 5 people.
Exactly right, yeah.
And then while the interview's going on, had you been here? Had you gotten to see this? Or this was just like you saw the pictures on the internet, you saw that? Or were you able to get on grounds to kind of be like, for us, like, wow, like what was that like?
So I interviewed during COVID, so I couldn't. So I was just looking at it on the internet, pictures on the internet.
Yeah.
I wanted to, and again, I had family in Yardley and family in the New York area. Could have stayed with either one of them, but they were so, especially in New York, restrictive during the year 2020 and beginning of 2021. I just looked at everything online.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it online and it's wow, but then you live it and it's like, wow.
Yeah, I was saying, so we've already taken a tour of the grounds here. We're interviewing, and then we're going to play kind of our setup today. I've seen in the last couple days, like doing research for this, and I said this to Heather as we were walking around, I've seen hundreds of pictures of the staircase and that entrance with the water feature behind it.
Yeah.
They don't do it justice. It is incredible how big it is, how expansive it, how beautiful it is, the intricacy, the details, everything. It is blown away. Is how I would expect it. Blown away.
And then you don't realize that the house isn't as old as it looks.
Right.
Too. Yeah, that's the other part about it.
That's 100% something.
Yeah.
It's really it's wild to see because it's 50 plus years old. You know, just right around there. But it looks like it could be in a castle
in
from
Europe
from,
somewhere.
Right,
Yeah,
from 1200.
Yeah.
Tired of your sock drawer looking like a 50s television show? Then it's time to try socks by Leverett US. With their vast array of color options and superior design, it's the only sock that you will ever need. Whether you play golf, tennis, pickleball, or are just on your feet all day, Leverett socks will enhance every step you take. Made from 97% nylon and 3% spandex, Leverett socks offers advanced moisture-wicking technology, odor-resistant fabric, durable and elastic construction, exfoliation components, and a blister-proof design. The performance of the socks are unparalleled in the market today, and they by far have the most color options in the business. Whether it is a holiday, seasonal, or event-based, Leverett US is consistently expanding their color options and designs. For those golf professionals, business owners, and merchandisers out there, Leverett US also offers a custom sock option. Fully customize your sock from heel to toe. With your logo on the sock and on the packaging, they are a perfect way to promote your business or make a nice margin in your shop or retail store. Throw a little text on the back heel and really take your custom sock to the next level. Leverett US is the only sock company you will need to address the one missing fashion piece in a person's wardrobe. For more information on Leverett socks, go to www.leverett.us or check them out on Instagram at LeverettUS. And don't forget, your outfit's not complete without Leverett on your feet. And then let's talk about the golf course. Obviously we're one of the things I know that the audience has said is like, we can't wait to hear what it's like being out there, because you hear the stories and sometimes, I joked around with Heather saying it was like a secret society trying to get out here. What's the golf course like, knowing that this is the only TPC course in New Jersey? What is the golf course like when you're out there? Give us an idea of what we can kind of expect.
Very tough greens. I'll tell you that. The greens are tough.
Perfect.
Too bad.
Depending on the back nine, I think the greens are a little bit tougher than the front nine. But the front nine is in my opinion, the harder nine. The back nine, if you miss it, you're on a different hole. The front nine, you miss it, not necessarily so. So it's a little bit, and that's not to say that it's tight. It's just a little bit more difficult if you're spraying it on the front nine. The back nine you can recover. I'm not going to say easily, but you can still recover. So the course, I mean, it's a great golf course. Do you hit a draw or a fade off the tee? Both of you.
All I can hit is draw. I couldn't hit a fade to save my life.
Right, and I'm the opposite. All I hit is fades.
Okay, so you're going to love
We're
the
good
front
corners.
nine.
Yeah.
And
Good.
you're
Love
going to
that.
love the back nine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could miss it right of right on the back nine and be fine. You can't miss it too far left on the front nine, but a lot of the holes require a draw shot shape off the tee on the front nine. So,
good.
yeah, so you're gonna
Wow.
you're gonna have each nine to duke it out with each other
Okay,
out
there we
there.
go.
And what's the length of the golf course? If you tip this whole thing out from the back end,
It's about 7,200, just shy of that. Player tees are just over 6,500 yards, and the middle tees where a majority of our membership plays from, or where we have Monday outings from the men, is just shy of 6,100 yards. So, and then we have 2 sets of blended tee yardages as well. So, like the female blended yardage, and then the forward tees. And just because it's executive yardage or forward yardage, that doesn't mean it's relegated to women only. We still have some of our older membership
Right.
playing those tee markers as well.
nice.
Do you have a favorite, like hole or section of holes? You said the front, the back. You said that you like the front a little bit more. It
Hole
sounded
15 is my favorite hole.
like hole 15
Is my favorite hole on the
Okay.
golf
What's
course.
15?
So you're gonna see it. If you're playing the player tees, you won't see it, but I play from the back tees. It's a straight dogleg left where you can't see the green. You're aiming out at a set of 3 fairway bunkers, and to the right of those fairway bunkers is the 17th green, which is a par 3. You can't see the green. You have to aim it at those bunkers and sling a draw off of it. You can't hit driver, else you go through the fairway. But it's only a 440-yard hole from the back tees, so you're trying to hit a 3-wood or a hybrid, which it's got more loft on it, so it's a little bit more difficult to curve a club with more loft. If you want to hit driver,
I agree.
If you want to hit driver and take it left over the tree line, it's a 440-yard hole from the back tees. You can have 60 yards left in. So you've got a lot of options for one of the, I don't want to say longer yardage holes on the golf course, but for a 440-yard hole. And it's a really cool setup. So when you come around behind the 14th green on the cart path, you'll see the tee box to 15. Look for the green. Because we have GPS on our golf carts, you'll be able to know where it is. But if you didn't know where it was, you would have no idea where you're hitting to.
Yeah.
So it's a cool hole.
Yeah, and I saw it online, like the 18th hole too. I feel like when you're talking picturesque too, I feel like 18 right here with the backdrop. Like, I don't know if I saw a nicer looking finishing hole than what that 18th hole was like.
And so that's true, but going back to your original question earlier, my favorite 3 stretch of holes is 16, 17, and 18. 16 is a drivable par 4. 17
Love that.
is a tough par 3.
Don't love that.
18 is and the green on 17 is probably the most undulated green on the golf course too.
Let's skip it and go to 18.
So 18 from the back tees is a 550-yard par 5. From the middle tees, it's about 515, 520. But for a 550-yard par 5, I could still only have, and I've done it before, like 180 yards left in.
Gotcha.
So you do the math there. That's a 360-some-odd yard drive, 370-yard drive.
Yeah.
That's how much the fairway slopes downhill. And if you get the right bounce,
Yeah.
you could potentially have less in.
Nice.
Wow.
So, and these guys who, Eamon and Gabe and Gavin, who I work with, they're longer than me off the tee. And I'm sure Gavin from the back, he's had wedge left into that green.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Is it all downhill, or is it just the fairway downhill?
it's all down. Well, when you hit from the fairway to the green, it's kind of leveled out,
Okay.
but everything goes straight downhill for the most part.
Okay.
And going back to, again, the stretch of holes, you can make a double bogey easily enough on that hole too, because you're standing like this, right? When you're trying to hit a shot into a par 5, or a second shot or a third shot into a par 5.
All right, challenge accepted.
and what about like the practice facility? Obviously, being a TPC course and having that kind of name attached to it, like what is like a practice facility like for the membership to come out here and in a sense, work on their game?
So the practice facility, right out front, you'll see we have 2 big putting greens. And then we've got a smaller chipping area and pitching area and smaller driving range. Then we've got another green by the first tee as well, too. We have a ton of members that just like to come out and beat golf balls, which is a good thing. They're paying for their membership. But we also have a lot of members who play. So to answer your question there, it just depends on what your definition of practice is, right? So for me...
Mike and I are going to go practice today.
You're going to go practice
On
today? Like me, because I don't play as much golf as I once used to, I don't want to go out there and beat golf balls, right? If I hit... My warm-up routine's the same for when I go out and play now. 3 shots with the clubs I think I'm going to use most. So sand wedge, 9-iron, 6-iron, hybrid, driver. 15 shots right there. Then I'll go to the first tee. But I really practice when I'm out on the golf course more often to speak, and so do a lot of our other members too. And unless we're playing, in a member tournament event. But prior to those events, they'll go out and they'll lay 2 or 3 golf balls down and hit shots to different locations on the green, like an actual practice round.
Wow.
So that's where they get a lot of their practice.
And how is the membership as far as their golf
Ability?
Yeah, I was gonna say acumen. Like, is it a
Or even playing.
Yeah,
Like,
even playing. Like, are they
like?
good golfers? Or is it like what's the average there?
We've got a mix of a lot, to be honest with you. So we have a group of guys, we call them our morning group. Their highest handicap person in that group is like an 11 or 12, I think. We've got a few ladies groups that play as well too, and the highest handicap there is 20. And that female golf is something that's going to be the future of this game. A 20 handicap female golfer is a good golfer.
Very good golfer.
Like, people don't comprehend how good that is.
Yes.
I played with one of our members the other day in an NJ PGA Pro-Am event out here. Her name is Phoebe Lee. She hit every fairway. I go, she's playing the executive tee markers, but I go, when is the last time you've ever seen anybody hit every single fairway out there? I don't care if it's 160, 170 yards. Every single fairway. And we're not talking like, this far off the fairway. We're talking literally in the middle of the fairway every time.
Right. She's this far off.
Yes, the straightest point in the fairway. Yeah.
That's great.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, getting out here and seeing this whole thing has been a very exciting thing. And I think initially it was like, let's see the golf course. And I think that's what it really was. I think the golf course ends up being like the cherry on top, really, because being here on the grounds, what's a normal day like for you? You get here. Are there times you kind of like pinch yourself and you're like, wow, look at where I am?
For our member guest event, it's the way we set up the cart staging. So we set the cart staging up around the main courtyard there in the fountains, and then
it's so good. So good. I can only imagine that. I don't even know how to make my tea time.
No, it's crazy.
And then we have a few members who own local car dealerships, and just to show off their vehicles, we'll kind of park them in between the carts to break them up and segment the front 9 and back 9. Okay. So you have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 vehicles breaking up these golf carts for the member guest invitational. It's really cool. But that is one of the times where I walk, and it's 5 a.m, and we're bringing the carts up at 5 a.m. So our crew is here at 4:30 in the morning. You're bringing carts up in pitch black, right? Then 6 o'clock comes up, you see the sun over the horizon, and you see what it looks like. You're like, wow, this is show-stopping.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's a great word for it, because I think this whole place, again, for me, has been show-stopping. It is already. We haven't hit a golf ball yet. We've barely walked outside of a property. It's been stunning. It really has. Show-stopping is a good word for it.
Yeah, I don't know how you could get bored of this place. I mean, I was jokingly in my mind thinking, like, you could play hide and go seek anywhere in this property and not know if you find somebody. And we, to your point, like, we haven't even been outside to see what the golf course is like. Like, I think that's one of the unique things about this place that we hear, through the grapevine about it, but now being able to actually experience it, like, man, it is a true treat. It really is.
It's different.
Yeah.
Show-stopping and different. So, yeah.
Do you get a lot of play from members on a daily basis? I feel like this is one spot, especially from like a social media side. Like, we see all the different pictures of people being here, people being there. Mm-hmm. I don't see a lot of this spot, and I think that's the other secret society like thing to it.
And Mike lives on his phone, so if it's out there, Mike's seen it.
Yeah, so like, and that's kind of the one thing for me that I'm like, is there a lot of play on a daily basis?
This time of year, it's really strange, but we'll do about 100, 110 rounds a day during the week, Tuesday through Friday. On the weekend, we could hit 150 easy, but on the weekend, it feels less busy because it's a lot of our membership who know the place. They're very regimented. They're, they'll walk to the golf shop, go to the first tee, and it's not like they're not trying to be not friendly to you, but we're gonna go to our tee time. It's family day after the round of golf. So a busier day sometimes can seem like you're doing less, which from my standpoint is actually kind of a cool thing. Yeah. You've got all these people who are respectful enough to know what they're doing. They just get it done, and they'll converse with you after their round if need be. But during the week, those Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, those 100-player days, we've had days where there's only been 80 players. It seems really busy. But then we get this time of year, right, where the weather's like this. My favorite time of year to golf.
Mine too.
And there could be 20 people to start the day on a tee sheet because of the temperatures in the morning, right? By the end of the day, we have an 80, 90, 100-player day. Yeah. So it depends on the time of year.
Okay. Makes sense. And I'd imagine like some of those are earlier in the day. So like that 150 round Saturday is probably between 7 and 10. Yes. And then you got nothing, you might have 30 people after that.
Yeah, I mean Sundays, especially during football season now too. So between 7 and really 10, I think you kind of hit the time frame right on the number. You play at 10, you get done by 2, you can watch a quarter and then the next half of football, right? Yeah. So that's kind of that parameter right there.
Yeah, that's great.
I got one more question for you. Give me, and I might be putting you on the spot here by asking this question, but like, what's like a story about this place that's like, wow, this is like, I'm at a TPC course, I've crossed paths with so-and-so. Is there a story like that you were like, wow, that kind of hits, that you're allowed to, to even share?
So, I can't give names, but there have been, and it's not from the golf side, it's more from the food and beverage and wedding side. We've had a few people who you would recognize instantly just attending a wedding, just dressed in, not even a tux, just casual jacket and slacks that have just walked through the door, and it's like, you're worth $300 million. You're like, I mean, it doesn't happen frequently, but at the same point in time, you catch yourself and you're like, I work at a place where that person is a guest of somebody, right? That's really cool.
Wow, that is really cool.
That's interesting.
The guest part hits. It's like, well, you're not, like, even you, I know you, and you can't be here. You're a guest of someone.
Yeah, you're a guest of a person.
That does make it a little, hits it a little differently.
That's great. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited, really looking forward to getting out there. This has been awesome already. Thank you for spending time with us.
You're welcome.
Really
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Absolutely.
Let's go hit them.
Let's do it.